Hi friends, yokoso and welcome to Kintsugi. For the last 10 years of my career, I have worked on this project from Kintsugi Wellness, the book, to the Wabi Sabi podcast, to the Kintsugi documentary, which you are about to watch. I'm so excited for you guys to check out this journey. As a mixed kid between the world of Japan and the US and Poland, I've sort of had to find my way. And if you ever feel different, if you are struggling, if you are going through a hard time, or if you just feel stuck, I wrote and directed and produced these projects for you because I too have gone through my own struggles of severe depression, anxiety, and just fear overall. I created this series to go a little bit deeper and to learn from some of the wisest individuals in the world, from Nagasaki survivors to the monks of Koyasan and Shikoku, to a young skater kid in Tokyo, to my own mother who was born and raised in Kyushu, Japan, to a kintsugi artist, to a reverend in Kyoto. We have learned so much about one another and from one another. Storytelling has always been my favorite way to share with the world and to reconnect with all of you. I hope you find connection in this series, a little bit of love and light, and you enjoy and know that all things in life are truly perfectly imperfect, and we can still embrace one another, especially when we come from different places. I began writing Kintsugi over 5 years ago. It had taken me a tremendous amount of time to feel that I was even worthy of writing about my Japanese heritage. As a mixed kid, I was raised by a Japanese mother and a Polish-American father in the US, and I didn't always fit in. As a journalist and writer in New York City, I became the poster child of wellness. And what had looked like overnight success was actually just 15 years of hard labor in the works. I put this constant pressure on myself, like I had to be perfect all the time, like I had something to prove. Nowadays, we are so focused on things like greed, power, money, and beauty. I had felt in my heart that so many of us were starting to lose our way. The only way that I knew how to get back on the right path was to go back to the place that I was from, Japan. Your roots and your lineage can tell this unexpected and beautiful story. I want to go back and study my ancestors' practices. That's where we find the art form of Kintsugi. It's the art form of golden repair. When an object breaks, it is put back together with a lacquer and a golden powder. When the object is completed, it is foreseen as even more beautiful than it once was before. It is a great correlation and a metaphor for anybody that is going through a hard time or is looking to heal, seal, and mend. Nobody is perfect. You can be better when you allow your cracks to shine. And in sharing your story of being broken, Kintsugi gives us a sense of freedom, peace, and harmony. And maybe, just maybe, this mixed kid, this child of war that never felt like she was supposed to fit in, maybe her calling was to share selflessly her family's history, their story, and the story of others she was meant to share. Throughout this series, we'll learn together the traditions and the culture of Japan to find where our heart lies. As we moved through the forest, the bamboo trees, the temples, the streets of Tokyo, as we skateboarded, as we ran, as we shot, as we worked our way through Japan, I found my way. I thought it was really important to share with you where I come from. So I hope you enjoy this series and you can find a little part of yourself along the way. This is Kintsugi. The story begins and ends at the hospital, where life both begins and ends. It's the place where I last saw my grandmother in Japan and where we donated my grandfather's beloved artwork. This story starts with my family and chasing my grandfather's art. Thank you so much. I went to go see my grandfather's artwork at the hospital for the first time ever. This was both touching and shocking. The last waking moments of some lives saw my grandfather's art before this time of trauma or passing. Maybe there was some comfort that was available in his artwork. In 1940, Jun Kumai attended art school. My grandfather flew from the countryside of Kyushu in southern Japan to Tokyo to study at Taiheiyo Bijutsu Gakko, Pacific Art School. He wanted to study the greats. He wanted to learn. He was so inspired with the impressionist paintings, he dreamed of becoming a famous impressionist artist himself. So he later became an art teacher. Oh my God, sorry you guys. He traveled far and wide across Europe to make this happen. In 1942, he passed the examination to become a teacher, and he changed his name to Kumai, my grandmother's last name and our family legacy, Jun Kumai. He painted and he painted. He sketched and he painted. Traveled and he struggled. My mother reminded me that his deepest and darkest struggles came through his artistry and his pain. He liked to drink whiskey. He inevitably was an artist. He struggled and endured. His wood carvings and his paintings, they later tell a story of a man, an artist, a pioneer, a creator, who simply wanted to express himself. Due to the war, he had to head back to Oita to become a teacher. The Americans were bombing Tokyo, so he fled to teach the children back in Oita in Kyushu to survive. He fled to teach so that he would not have to be drafted into the mess of the war like so many young Japanese men his age. He survived and he struggled. I sometimes wonder, had there not been war, had the Americans not bombed Tokyo, had he not had to flee, what would have come of Ji-chan's art? The last time I saw these, I think I was like 5 years old at his exhibits, and I haven't seen something so beautiful in so long. Some of these I don't even remember seeing. So thank you. Hey, すいません。どうもありがとうございます。どうも。When I was just 5 years old, my mom took me to see my grandfather's stone Buddha art. It was this experience that I would always cherish. It changed my whole perspective on the world. Probably didn't realize it when I was little, but watching my grandfather's art, my heart and mind were able to capture and captivate this different world in my mind. Exactly 30 years later, Mom and I meet up to chase my grandfather's artwork. It wasn't planned this way, but it became part of the full circle. Even when we were that little and we used to come here all the time, I didn't think that we would ever be where we are. I didn't think I'd be writing about Japan, you know?
I think that childhood memory stays in your brain long time.
Yeah.
So I guess getting old, start to remember those memories, and maybe you thought something about your mother's homeland.
You know me, since I was a kid, I've been never done what everybody else is doing. I don't like rules.
Yeah, you're unique kind, so.
You know, you and Dad were really tough on Jenny and I, and like you said, if you only have one chance to do something great, then
you guys try hard, but well, do your best. Ganbatte, that stuff. Yeah.
For me, the struggle has been, I have to be this example for other people to follow now, even though it's really, really tough.
Right.
Now that I know that Ji-chan did the same thing when we were growing up, Ji-chun was struggling to be a successful artist and also raise a family at the same time and teach the kids at school. Knowing that, it makes me feel a little bit more comforted. I have to learn from him, right?
Like Ji-chan come to this park often, paint all those trees. Staying at nature is one thing to keep you calm.
Did you like seeing Ji-chan's art?
Oh yes. I watched those painting when I was young. He's attacking on the canvas and drawing something he won't paint. Yeah, some of them still here, but it's not forever. My father's drawing at early age, when he was young, draw many people. As a model is there, usually ladies. He likes ladies, so he painting those, beautiful ladies. But later, getting old, they start to paint that sekibutsu, that stone Buddha, stone Buddha sculptures and stuff.
How long would something like this take him?
Maybe couple months.
Okay.
Yeah. Day after day, just keep painting. Try to make his best painting. Always a struggle.
The struggle is part of the artistry.
Yeah.
It's like you're never going to feel qualified, talented, smart, or good enough because you're constantly evolving your work into like this new direction. And maybe he felt the same way.
Yeah.
I really wish I could talk to him about that now. Seeing my grandfather's art as a struggling writer in New York City, I started to connect to him even more and on a different level. We're all going through the same thing, just at different places and at different times in our lives. Sometimes when we don't know where to turn, it's so nice to go back to where you came from and experience the same things your family once did at different points in time.
Ji-chan think when they carve this one, they probably apply that more brilliant colors all over the Buddha's statue. So later it's just all gone. So when Ji-chan painting that Buddha's statue on the canvas, he kind of imagined what that color was, kind of things. So that's kind of a blue and orangish color, and you saw it today. Somebody make this stone Buddha, and then Ji-chan draw it. Candice now carrying his torch to create something.
I think the most important thing is just keep going, right? And take it all in and know that it's not going to be perfect. Yeah. When you go back to where you come from and when you see the origins of where everything started, you will be able to open your world and your mind up to so much healing and so much grace and so much empathy. My mother and I often had these long conversations about Koyasan. It's a place where Shingon Buddhism was founded, and it's a place where I've gone to work on myself with the monks in the mountains for the last few years. You may not know that out in the mountains in the middle of nowhere, the monks are praying for us all the time.
私はもともとですね、サラリーマンをしてまして、で東京の方におりまして、お仕事をしてましたけれども、年齢を重ねていくとですね、人生いろいろこううまくいかないことも多くなってまいりまして、最初はですね、これは周りの人がいけないんじゃないかとか、世の中がいけないんじゃないかっていうふうに考えてたんですけれども、結局周りが変わっても同じ結果が起こるってことは、もしかしたらこれ自分の中に原因があるんじゃないかなですね、思いました。高野山のですね、お開きになった弘法大師空海様はですね、私たち人間はですね、そのものが仏であるというふうにおっしゃっております。私たちの中にですね、仏様がおりますので、自分のことは知ってるようで意外と知らないものでして、自分が何を考えているのか、どう感じているのか、そういったことをですね、日本では先祖供養といいまして、自分のそのルーツですね、先祖をですね、供養する、お参りするという習慣がありますけれども、そういうことをちょうど始めた時でしたね。その護摩修行などに参加して、そのお祈りする喜びというかですね、楽しさを知りましたので、強く決意したわけですよね。自分の中でそうやって生きてみたいと。
I had felt so calm and complete when I was in Koyasan, and a sense of peace would always wash over me when I was there. With no cameras, no writing, no technology, I simply wanted to connect back to my ancestors' practices.
私たち僧侶というものは行住座がという言葉があります。行というのは行い、そして住、住まい、そして座、座る、が、伏せる、こういった全ての行いをですね、悩み、そういった煩悩というのを捨て去って行うことで自分自身を研鑽する。とりわけて掃除というものは一番そういった心の汚れ、そういったものを取り除くのには大事な作業でございます。多少の汚れがあってもそれが気になる。そういうところをきれいにしていく。ひいては高野山というところはたくさんの参拝の方がこちらに参られます。その時に気持ちよく参拝をしていただいて、気持ちよく帰っていただく。すべては自分のためにもなり、人のためにもなる。
When I connect back to the monks, I can see part of myself inside of them, that self that wants to help others and stay mindful and constantly wants to pray for others and their best journey. The monks help to remind us who we are and where we're going when they share with us their take on life and the struggles that they've been through as well. Or maybe it's even just their happy times, which include cleaning and taking care of the temple grounds. This is a pleasure and a joy to watch, as it's something that is so rarely seen in everyday Western life. Perhaps the monks have this perspective on life that is so pure and clean that when we watch it, we're taken back by their practice of ganbatte. They always do their best no matter what, but being of service to others is what they choose to do with their lives. I've been going back to Koyasan for 5 years now, every single year, to spend time with the monks. I've gone through every season, every change, and the one thing that's sure is that they'll always be there.
日本では覚悟と申しますけれども、その意思がまさに実現したということになります。そういったことをですね、常に自分と向き合って自分の心を見つめていくと。そういうようにですね、やはり周りも自分を信じてその道に進めばですね、周りも必ず理解してくれますし、応援してくれるようになりますので、そういったことをですね続けていきますとですね、何かしらの自分の意思みたいなものが見えてきますので、どうか皆様ですね、自分の心と向き合って、そしてそこで生じた自分の覚悟を信じてですね、進んでいっていただけたらと思っております。
In between the mountains and the roadways, the struggles, the Japanese countryside, all the way through Koyasan and with the monks, through the hospital and those moments where I just get to be with my mother in Japan, what we find is a little piece of ourselves, and we find that it's okay to be broken. It's okay to struggle. You can look at your heritage to find answers. I found it in my grandfather's art. I found it with the monks in the mountains. I found it in my mother's heart in the countryside of Japan. And I found it in Kintsugi, that we're all perfectly imperfect just as we are. I hope you guys loved episode 1 and you check out episodes 2, 3, and 4. Follow my work on social media at Candice Kumai on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, wherever you can find me. Sign up for my newsletter at CandiceKumai.com. And also don't forget to check out the Wabi Sabi podcast. I will see you there, and I'm a little bit more crass on the pod.